want to talk about finding meaning in suffering. And I want to start off in a very practical way by asking you to think about the person in your life, someone who has died, that you miss the most. And I want you to be brave and to go into some of these thoughts with me for just a minute. And I want you to think not just of that person who's the most obvious. If you've had a spouse that has died, obviously a parent or both parents who have died. But I want you to think specifically today about the person who has died that you miss the most today. And what I want you to do now is refine your thoughts, because I've asked you to think about a lot of things, so I want you to pick out one set of words that they shared, or one thing that happened, an activity, an action that they took, or something tangible, a physical object that you actually can lay your hands on. Think of one of those things, and I want you to just lovingly hold that thought right now. And if you still have your eyes closed, if you would open your eyes. And I'd just like to have a few people share what that was that came to your mind.
Go ahead. My name is Frances Brooks, and there's that crack you mentioned.
Thank you for getting to it early. I appreciate that.
My best friend in this world as I was growing up was my grandmother, who I'm named for, Helen Frances Peel. And that woman was a card shark.
Okay.
But the thing that I appreciate that she invested the most was the time that we spent over that silly game of solitaire or war. For many of you in the room, we would play for hours, and that's what our best friends look like. And so I'm appreciative for that memory. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you.
My name is Nicole Marsden, and the person that I miss the most is my grandfather. And he always wore Old Spice. And I remember one of the last times that we had a family event, we'd always get a big hug, and you say your goodbyes. And I remember laying down and smelling the Old Spice. So I just loved Grandpa's Old Spice.
Yeah, let's connect afterwards, because there's a little tiny part of my book that I thought was dumb until you just said that. And I want to show that to you and give you that, because I appreciate you saying that. He says, we must never forget that we may also find meaning in life when confronted with a hopeless situation, when facing a fate that cannot be changed. And I know we are people who we don't grieve as those without hope, right? We have hope in every situation. But I have to be terribly honest with you, and I'm going to say something that you might not like to hear at all. There are times when trying to focus on hope actually hurts other people. And I tell you this because we lead a team where I'm a part of a team that responds every time someone dies. When we walk in a room and there's a dead person laying there, sometimes the focus is on hope, but sometimes that can be a very difficult thing to say. It can be a very difficult conversation when someone has already died. As Viktor Frankl says, facing a fate that cannot be changed. This is a situation I am facing right now that cannot be changed. And so how do I deal with this situation? They prepared to leave. Gordon went over to a stack of hymnals that sat in the back, and he said, I want each one of you to take one of these so that you have something, a memento from the church. And they walked out with the hymnals. 3 weeks later, when no one could get a hold of Robert on the phone, his youngest son was the one that showed up to the house, let himself inside to find what he felt in his spirit he knew he would find, that his dad had died in his sleep. He sat down on the edge of his bed, looked over at him, and he squeezed his hand. He said, well, I think you did it, Dad. You visited all the important places. He looked up, and sitting right next to Robert on his nightstand was a dusty old hymnal.